And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at X-Men Marvel United. Now, Marvel United came out a year and a half ago. It was from CMON. It's a little game, a cooperative game, where you were fighting a group of heroes against the villains. So the original Marvel United, which was a big Kickstarter, although the base game got released to stores, was the Avengers and all their cronies and all the different people who attacked the Avengers and the Spider-Verse and things like that. Well, this is the second series here, X-Men. Now, the Kickstarter has not yet delivered. This is just the base game, which is out available that you can buy now. So this review is just of that base game. And in fact, I have not yet mixed this stuff with the Avengers stuff, although as far as I can tell, it perfectly can. So there's a lot in there. If you've never heard of the original Marvel United, that's fine. We're going to talk about this game. It definitely has more stuff than the original Marvel United did. There's an extra hero, there's an extra villain, there's people you can use as heroes and villains, there's another way to play. That stuff is actually retroactive, but let's talk about how it plays first, and then we'll be back. To play this game, you're going to pick one of the 4 villains that comes in this set. And just as a FYI, 2 of the villains, Magneto and Mystique, can be played as a villain or a hero, just not in the same game. And then each player who's playing is going to pick a hero, and there are 6 heroes in the game. Well, technically 8, again, since Magneto and Mystique can be heroes. So you're going to set up 6 random locations here. The box gives you 8 in a circle like this. You're going to put a little dashboard out for the villain you pick. So in this case, I picked Sabretooth. On the back, it might tell you some special setup here. There's a special hunted token that goes to the starting hero. And there's some other special stuff here if you're playing not against the game, but playing a 1 versus all. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, the object for players is to defeat the villain. In this case, we're playing a 3-player game. The villain has 7 hit points, so all heroes have to do is 7 damage. But before they can even attack the villain, they need to complete 2 of these missions. So they might have rescue 9 civilians, defeat 9 thugs, or clear 4 threats. So how do we play? In this game, you are building a queue of cards. Each hero has their own deck of cards, which you will shuffle, and you'll be drawing 3 cards to start off. At the beginning of a hero's turn, they're going to draw a card and play a card. But the villain also has their own deck of cards, and in fact, they're going to play the first card. So you'll turn that card over and do whatever it says. First of all, it tells you where the villain moves. In this case, the villain moves to the location with the hunted hero. So Sabretooth is this hunting person, so you'll move them to that location. So if we slide over here to the board, Sabretooth will move all the way down to this location. We also look, it says BAM. When it says BAM, you're going to look at the BAM effect on Sabretooth's card. So in this case, it says he does 2 damage to 1 hero in his location. This must be the hunted hero if they're in that location. Great. So the hunted hero takes damage. In this game, your hand of cards is damage. So remember I said you start with 3? Well, whoever the hunted hero is, let's say in this case it's Wolverine, they'll lose 2 cards from their hand. If you ever lose all the cards from your hand, you are knocked out temporarily. It's going to let the villain play extra cards, which you don't want the villain to play all their cards. You'll lose, and then you'll come back the next round. So getting knocked out is not great. In this case, if Sabretooth knocks out each person once, Sabretooth will win the game. So we have to be careful about that. This will also show that the location that Sabretooth moves to, if it has this here, there's a threat card in each location, in which case this does, says discard all civilians from this location, do 1 damage to 1 hero in both adjacent locations. So the civilians go away here, and fortunately there are no heroes in adjacent locations, so that's not bad. So this is the first card that is played by the villain. Heroes will then take turns playing cards. So we have the starting villain card. So let's say Professor X decides to go first. Professor X might play this card here. There are 2 icons at the bottom that Professor X gets to do, a move and a heroic action. After Professor X does that, Wolverine might play this card here. This is Adamantium Claws, which gives him 2 attack to actions and a wild action here at the bottom. But you always get the symbols of the card directly before you. So Wolverine will get a move, a heroic action, a wild, and 2 attack actions. Then Storm might play a card, so she'll play this one here. This also gives her 2 attack in any location, but she gets the icon of the card in front of her, a wild, a move, and 2 attacks in any location. After the heroes play 3 cards, so even if you have 2 heroes, you'll play, it could be Professor X, Wolverine, Professor X. The villain plays another card. And then you keep going. So Professor X would play this card here, which is a wild, but he would get the move from Storm's last played card. And you keep doing this till either the bad guy wins or the good guys win. The move action is pretty simple. You can move to an adjacent area. The heroic action will let you do a couple things. It lets you, if there's a civilian at your location, it lets you rescue that civilian. You want to do that for 2 reasons. 1, if you rescue 9 civilians, you finish a mission. But 2, if a spot fills up and the villain card tells you to add thugs or civilians to it and you can't, then there's an overflow, and overflows are always bad. And it will tell you, for example, it just says, if you can't add any to a location, do 1 damage to the hunted hero. Well, that's not great. So you got to be very careful in that. So you want to rescue civilians. You can also, if there's a spot on a mission here, in this case, you can use a heroic action to put a token on that. When you put a token on all 3 spots, this is going to go away. Now, this is good for 2 reasons. Every time you finish a mission, you're clearing a threat, you put a token here. This is how to finish that mission. But also, when the card is gone, when a hero ends their turn in a location, it lets you do something. Like here at the end of turn, you can rescue someone from that location. Here at the end of your turn, you can draw cards till you have 3 in hand. Here, you can discard a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to get you 2 tokens. And tokens are like actions you can use on a future turn. So clearing these threats is great. That's what heroic actions do. Fighting, well, it's exactly what you think it is. Fighting lets you attack and get rid of a thug, which again, defeating thugs is one of the things you need to do. Sometimes there will be henchmen that are on the board, depending on who it is. So this is a Mystique's deck. So she has Avalanche. Avalanche has the number of players plus 2 health. So you can damage this, and this is how you get rid of this threat rather than doing heroic actions. And you can attack the main villain themselves, but only when you've finished 2 of the missions. And it doesn't matter which order. I could finish these 2 first. You don't need to do all 3 missions to win the game. When you finish the first mission, the villain card happens after every 2 hero cards instead of every 3. When you finish the second one, you can now attack the villain directly. When you finish the third one, everyone gets to draw an extra card. And then once you can attack the villain, you try to get to their spot and take them out. If you do that, you win the game. I mentioned a 1 versus all mode, super villain. In this case, the heroes will start with some tokens, but somebody plays the bad guy, so they'll have a hand of 2 cards. But there's also some super villain and some superhero cards. Each hero will draw 2 superhero cards, which will allow you, hey, if the villain ends their movement in your location, you can look at the master plan cards in their hand, force them to put 1 on the bottom. Or you're about to take damage and ignore 2 damage. So each player is one of those, but the villain's also going to get 3 of these super villain cards, which they can play. So when the trigger happens, you can do the effect. Other than that, the gameplay is very similar. It's just going to be someone's controlling the bad guy and making decisions on their behalf. In a future video, I'll be talking about all the different people who come from this set, but these are the 8 heroes that come. You got Jean Grey, Professor X, Wolverine, Storm, Beast, Magneto, Cyclops, and Mystique as the heroes. Each hero has a bunch of cards that simply have icons on them. Every hero has a 1 wild and a 2 wild, and depending on the difficulty of the game, you can take the 1 wild out, the 2 wild out, or both out, which I would never do. You also have some special cards. There are 4 special cards for each character, and in fact, some of the characters, Mystique and Wolverine, I believe, have starting hand cards, and these cards start in your hand, your opening hand. So you can use these as a special ability, which usually only affects you on each of the characters. Some characters, like Professor X here, has more than 4. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 special cards. Like here, he can give 2 heroic action tokens from the pool to another hero. So you can pick any mixture of heroes to go up against any of the villains. The 4 villains in the game are, you've already seen Sabretooth, who's hunting someone down. We got Juggernaut, who's just going to run around the board and try to smash people. Magneto, who has a special mission that will come in, Cerebro, that you'll do instead of completing 4 threats. and Mystique, who's trying to kill Senator Kelly, and so you have to protect Senator Kelly around the board. The miniatures for this are fantastic as always. I really particularly like the Magneto miniature with the steel beams and stuff. I'm very much looking forward to getting these painted, but as it is, it's good. You'll notice that these are purple as a new color, but that's just because they can be a villain or a hero. The card quality is fine. It's not amazing, but I do like the different art on the card quality. And the game also comes with gadzooks of tokens that you'll use in various spots. The insert holds everything. I usually get rid of my inserts, but this one is fine. Holds all the characters and the cards. The component quality, especially for what you get here, I think is pretty good. For me, I liked Marvel United when it first came out, but as time went by and there's more options, I've grown to love the game. This is really a sweet spot for me. I think that nowadays cooperative games are often being made too difficult, even when clearly the majority of people, and I've polled, want games that are not so difficult. This works really well because you can have both. You can pick some of the villains. I personally think, for example, in this set, that Juggernaut's really hard, while some of the other ones are a little easier. So I like that you can pick any group of heroes and play up against any of the villain. And the fact that there's already 70-some heroes and there's another 100 coming from this one, the options here are endless. It looks good and it feels like the comic books. I love that part. Yes, at its core, a lot of the cards are icons. And yes, you're just matching these icons, but it's just fun. You can see the battles in your head. I don't know, I just really enjoy this. I think this works exceptionally well as a solo game. I've played much of my Marvel United experience has been solo. Although I will say, as an aside, the solo variant in the book, they have a Professor X Cerebro solo thing. I don't really care to play that way. I simply play as if I was 3 players. I like playing with 3 characters. It just works well at the beginning of the game. Each character plays 1 card. That's just my sweet spot, but you can play with 2 characters, whatever, as a solo player. The one versus all, let's talk about that. That's something new here. I think that that's fine. It works. But I'd rather just play, you know, the base characters against the, you know, as a cooperative game. It just feels better that way. I don't know why. I just found that I like it and enjoy it that way. Adding in the one player as the villain, I think tilts it slightly towards the villain. Maybe. I haven't played it enough to know on that end. But while the villain has choices, for sure, it just is more fun for me, for us all to play together as heroes. But the fact that both are there, and they are eventually going to reprint, I think, all the old villains so that you can play that super villain method, you know, that's cool too. But as is, again, this has a lot of options in the box. Now, when we compare it to the original one, these have 4 special cards. Most of the original ones only had 3. That feels a little power creepish to me, in the sense that you say, well, I play Captain America or Wolverine. Maybe Wolverine's better. Now, I don't know that. I'm just saying that's how it feels slightly. I'll have to compare them. I have like a spreadsheet where I do all the stats. I really like this game. But forgetting all that, do you want to be the X-Men? Do you want to fight Magneto? You don't have a lot of options when it comes to this in the board game world. There's a lot that are abstracted out. We got dice games, we got deck building games, and many of them are good. But this is my favorite Marvel game at this point in time. More than Dice Masters, more than the Marvel Legendary. This one, I'm moving the figures around. Yes, they're chibis, but I like the concept here. I like saying, oh, this time I'm taking Professor X and Magneto working together to stop the Juggernaut. And I can't wait to mix them. I want to see Magneto and Mystique and Cyclops taking on Red Skull. That just sounds fun to me. Or having Wolverine, Captain America, and Falcon going up against, you know, Magneto himself. That sort of thing sounds fun, and it works well. But here's what I really like about this game. It is so plug and play. You say, I'm taking these 3 heroes, we're taking this villain. Here's the villain setup, boom, 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 boom. I can have this game set up in 6-7 minutes, and we're ready to go. And I know this because, again, when I played through every combination, not every combination, but I played every villain and every hero from the last set, which is a ton, and I was able to set it up, play it, put it away, set it up, play it, It's great. This works well for kids. It works well for adults. If you like Marvel, and I really think liking Marvel is part of it. If you're not a big Marvel fan, I don't think this is going to work well for you. But as we all know, the X-Men are some of the best parts of the Marvel Universe, and it's great to see them here. So this is fantastic. Get it. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.